A Bitcoin reserve could change perception. The Bitcoin community is a buzz over the possibility of the US establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Pro-crypto Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis introduced a bill, yet to gain traction, that would require the Treasury to buy 200,000 Bitcoins each year for 5 years until reaching 1 million units. Enhanced security. A national Bitcoin reserve could transform the cryptocurrency market and US economic policy. It would legitimize Bitcoin as a digital asset, providing stability and driving demand. It could also set a precedent, encouraging other countries to follow suit and expand the global cryptocurrency ecosystem. However, the idea is still in its early stages and faces several challenges, including price volatility, management difficulties, and regulatory hurdles. The proposal for a Bitcoin reserve has gained momentum, fueled by speculation that President Trump will embrace the idea. Some have even compared it to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, a government stockpile of crude oil used during global disruptions. The move would provide a hedge against inflation, strengthen the nation's geopolitical position, and bolster its economy. Proponents believe that a Bitcoin reserve could mitigate financial stress down the road by reducing the need to spend taxpayer dollars on foreign debt or devalued currency. Additionally, it could increase business investment and tourism. El Salvador, for example, has adopted Bitcoin as its official currency and has reported increased international remittances and digital investments. However, critics have argued that the idea is too risky and that it would be difficult to manage. They point out that Bitcoin prices are volatile, and a sudden drop in value would lead to large financial losses. They also argue that it is unclear if Bitcoin has the same utility as other reserve assets like gold, which helps countries combat inflation and stabilize their economy. In spite of the hurdles, a Bitcoin reserve is an innovative and visionary concept that could help propel the United States to a leading role in the cryptocurrency space. Ultimately, it will come down to how the Trump administration chooses to implement it and how the rest of the world responds. 2. Diversification. Investing in several different asset classes and market segments is a critical part of managing your portfolio. This helps reduce your exposure to any single market event, company performance or regulatory change that could impact your overall investment. It's a strategy that is increasingly important given the heightened volatility of the stock market. Diversification is especially critical for longer-term investors, who will experience more price fluctuation than shorter-term investors. Many investors are looking to diversify their portfolio by investing in digital assets, including Bitcoin. In fact, some are pushing for the federal government to start a strategic reserve made up of Bitcoin. Some lawmakers, like Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis, have even introduced a bill that would allow the US Treasury to purchase a total of 1 million Bitcoins, or 5% of the cryptocurrency's total supply. This Bitcoin reserve would be maintained for a minimum of 20 years. It is hoped that the cryptocurrency will help chip away at the nation's growing debt. Adding a Bitcoin reserve to the United States' existing reserves of gold and foreign currency would make the country more competitive in the digital economy, and align it with global markets where major institutions and corporations are increasing their Bitcoin holdings. Furthermore, the capped supply of 21 million bitcoins could provide a useful hedge against inflation and currency devaluation, similar to that provided by gold. The move is seen as a potential modern version of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which helps stabilize energy markets in the event of disruptions. If the US starts a cryptocurrency reserve, it will likely encourage other nations to follow suit and propel Bitcoin prices higher. It's also an opportunity to make a name for the country as a leader in the Bitcoin space. 3. Tax-free. As the world's most valuable digital asset, Bitcoin is highly coveted by investors. The cryptocurrency's value could skyrocket even further should the US government adopt a national Bitcoin strategic reserve. This would be a huge endorsement of the digital currency and increase its credibility around the globe. Traditionally, assets considered for strategic reserves must meet a combination of criteria. These include stability, global recognition, and ease of circulation. Bitcoin fits these requirements perfectly, making it a good candidate for a strategic reserve. In addition, a national Bitcoin reserve could provide the US with several economic benefits. For example, it can act as a hedge against the country's massive national debt. As the value of a Bitcoin reserve increases, the Treasury can sell portions of its holdings to reduce the national debt. Furthermore, a Bitcoin reserve could also help the country become more competitive in the global finance market. Although some critics are skeptical of the idea, there is growing support for a national Bitcoin reserve. For instance, Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis has introduced legislation titled the Bitcoin Act of 2024, which would require the Treasury to purchase 200,000 Bitcoins each year for 5 years until reaching 1 million units. This is equal to about 5% of the total cryptocurrency supply. Despite the potential of a national Bitcoin reserve, it is unlikely to take place anytime soon. In fact, prediction markets on Polymarket give a low probability of the US establishing its own Bitcoin strategic reserve. In the meantime, state legislatures are introducing laws that would allow public pension funds and the state treasurer to invest in Bitcoin. For example, a bill in Pennsylvania was introduced in November. 4. Low interest rate. As an asset class, Bitcoin has a natural appeal during periods of low interest rates. In these times, investors are more willing to take risks and invest in speculative assets like stocks or crypto. The low cost of borrowing means that these riskier investments can generate larger returns than more stable investment types like bonds or certificates of deposit. For the federal government, a strategic Bitcoin reserve could also help reduce its debt burden. The national debt is a major concern for many Americans, and the United States debt to GDP ratio is significantly higher than that of most other developed countries. By adding a large stockpile of Bitcoin, the Treasury would be able to sell off portions of its holdings to pay down debt. The proposal for a strategic Bitcoin reserve is being supported by both pro-crypto Republicans and fiscal conservatives. In fact, it is expected to be endorsed by the Republican Party's National Committee Chairman, Paul Ryan. The most concrete proposal thus far comes from Senator Cynthia Lummis, who introduced the Boosting Innovation, Technology and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nationwide Act in July 2024. If passed, the bill would allow the Treasury to buy 200,000 bitcoins each year for 5 years until the reserve reaches 1 million tokens. This represents about 5% of the total cryptocurrency's global supply of 21 million. The purchases are slated to be funded through Treasury remittances, adjusted gold holdings and a reduction in the cap of Federal Reserve Bank's deposits. The purchased bitcoins would then be stored in decentralized vaults across the country for a minimum of 20 years. This is expected to help reduce the national debt by a significant amount. 5. Easy access. Bitcoin's value has surged since Election Day. Talk of the US creating a strategic crypto reserve has increased. Some politicians like Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis are pushing for the United States to use existing government funds to purchase 1 million bitcoins over time. However, it's important to remember that this plan is still in its infancy. A Bitcoin reserve could help reduce the country's ballooning national debt, a major concern for many Americans. Currently, interest payments on the federal debt total over $1.6 trillion, and this number is rising at an accelerating rate. A cryptocurrency stockpile would help chip away at the nation's unsustainable financial trajectory while also positioning the US as a global leader in the digital currency space. Other benefits of a strategic Bitcoin reserve include: 1. Inflation hedge. As Bitcoin's price rises, the capped supply of 21 million coins may provide a hedge against inflation, similar to gold. 2. Geopolitical leverage. The ability to transact across borders more quickly, securely, and cheaply makes Bitcoin an appealing strategic asset. 3. Institutional adoption. A growing number of institutions and companies are embracing Bitcoin as a way to manage their finances. A strategic Bitcoin reserve can accelerate adoption and strengthen the US's standing as a global economic powerhouse. 4. Diversification. A diverse portfolio can help investors mitigate the risks of market volatility and regulatory challenges. Adding Bitcoin to a broader investment strategy can improve diversification and boost long-term performance. Bitcoin's recent price gains are a reflection of heightened investor enthusiasm for the crypto's potential. Considering the potential benefits of a Bitcoin reserve, it is worth exploring whether investing in this market makes sense for your long-term goals.